But it's not the same kind of issues that are happening in Texas. And that is what we're going to next. Because of course we are. Because everything that's batshit insane comes out of fucking Texas, where I live. All right. So I know you've heard about this, all right? I know this has made it in its news, but we need to talk about it. And that is the new GOP platform featuring cultural wars and delusions coming out of Texas GOP. So the Texas GOP wrapped up its state convention this month by releasing a list of principles, constitutional issues, and resolutions, some of which have triggered quite the outcry. It's 40 pages long and addresses several hot-button issues. It's equal parts culture war and delusion. On homosexuality, the platform states that, quote, homosexuality is an abnormal lifestyle choice. It's not a choice. It's not abnormal. You just don't like it because of your fucking religion. Stop trying to shove your religion down my throat. Continuing on, it goes, we believe that there should be no granting of special legal entitlements or creations of special status for homosexual behavior. There's not. That's not how the law works. Equality isn't special privilege. It's just equality. You're only saying this because you want to oppress them and force them back in the closet, like we said previously. Continuing on, regardless of a state of origin, and we oppose any criminal or civil penalties against those who oppose homosexuality out of faith, conviction, or belief in traditional values. In other words, we want to be able to be bigots in all the things that we want to be bigoted about, whether it's the church, which, fine, I don't care I care what churches do, but not enough to quibble about that one. But at businesses, people that offer services to the public, you want to deny them the ability to use services based on their immutable characteristics, all because your Sky Daddy says that it's not good. He doesn't even say that. That's even in question among legal scholars. I mean, not legal scholars, religious scholars. So it's all just bullshit. It's just this culturally ingrained fucking miasma of like vitriol and hate. All because it makes them disgusted or something. I don't fucking get it. Oh. My wife just said in the background, aroused. Yes, it's self-hate a lot of the times. It's true. It's true. Now, continuing on, they said on gender, the GOP announced more items about gender identification in sports. One says biological males must compete against biological males, and biological women compete against women in athletics. Another says no medical practitioner can interfere with puberty, use sex hormones or surgery, or on anyone under the age of 21 for sex change purposes. I'll let her know, Stabby. Now, what is this going to mean? Well, we already saw in Texas, this is already within the Texas law, basically, right? There is a trans man that is a wrestler, or was. This is actually a few years ago, so they're probably graduated by now. So I'm gonna say there was a trans man that was a wrestler that was forced to compete against women because of these kind of things, and he more or less dominated the sport because of the hormones that he was on, because he was already taking testosterone. All he wanted to do was compete against men because he is a man, and these kind of laws prevented that. At the same time, these laws prevent assigned male at birth people from competing in women's sports if they're a trans woman, despite the fact that many of these people, now with new technology, with new understanding, are on puberty blockers, preventing them from having an unfair advantage in the sport. It's just all kinds of fucked up. And when you look at these people, you can't really tell. And even if you can, it doesn't matter. Because we're talking about a sport. We're talking about high school. Like, it's not... There isn't this, like, some nefarious plot like some gender critical turfs want to say about, like, trying to destroy women's sports from the inside because men are just super sexist. It's not that. We just want people to be able to live as they are, as who they are, and their most authentic self, with love, compassion, understanding, and acceptance. Absent that, at least not any outright bigotry against them. But we can't have that because, as my wife said, might turn them on. That's what we have here with that. And by the time a person is 21, puberty blockers don't matter anymore. And it becomes a lot harder for a person to transition easily, we'll say, after going through puberty. And the amount of harm that happens to a person when they go through puberty as a trans person, or the potential harm, because it doesn't happen to everybody, so let's not broad brush, but most, leads the lack of acceptance and everything leads to things like suicide, self-harm, etc. And if we want to protect kids, which apparently the GOP says they want to do, which is, we know it's a lie, then these are things that should be allowed under consultation of the doctor, medical professionals, and the like. Because doctors take the oath of do no harm. And their parents, and the patient knows what's best for them. Continuing on with the platform, though, they talk about abortion. Now, they already got that big win, right? Big win for women dying, I guess. But they talk about it. And what do they say? Well, this is what they say. So the platform calls for the complete abolition of abortion and prohibiting the teaching of sex education, sexual health, sexual choice of identity in any public school in any grade whatsoever. Apparently, they just want kids to be stupid, to get knocked up, to get STDs, all in the name of Jesus or some other bullshit. The platform also calls for Obergefell versus Hodges, the Supreme Court decision legalizing same-sex marriage nationwide, to be overturned because, again, dominionists going to dominionize, and that means try to dominate you and enforce their beliefs down your throat. Now, the platform notes that, quote, Texas retains the right to secede from the United States as well. And liberals around the country are like, let them go. Never win another election again. No. That will trigger a civil war. You can't just say, let them go, because that's not happening. Because it doesn't stop with one state. One state's going to be like, I secede. And if you say, okay, a lot of other states are like, I want to do that too. I want to form my own nation. And the amount of harm that will become to everybody involved is going to push people to the brink, and violence is going to erupt out, and it will be a civil war. And even if you do everything in your power to prevent it, nefarious actors overseas, China, Russia, maybe Saudi Arabia, will exploit that to foment more violence in order to weaken the United States and be able to do what the fuck they want on the global stage. That's not something a lot of liberals want to talk about. Basic liberals that think that just let them go, just let them go. They don't want to think about that. That's what will happen. Another provision called for the United States to withdraw from the United Nations because globalism is bad. New World Order. We can't have the New World Order telling us what to do. Yeah, that's not happening though. It's a fever dream. And you know what? I'm going to say this because this is a thing. So this part here is a thing that a lot of people don't understand. A lot of people do not understand why this New World Order thing is like so big among Republicans. Have you heard of the little series, little best-selling series of books called Left Behind? Do you realize that a lot of Christians, especially Dominionists and evangelicals, believe that is prophecy? And that they believe that Revelations talks about a one-world government, and they view that as being objectively evil and the product of Satan? You can't escape these kind of things here. Say what you will with like left-leaning people that are anti-global capitalism, right? They have their own issues, but it's not like this. It's not an issue of saying that somebody that comes out and says, I would like to see a one world government so that there is less war and conflict in the world. These people hear that, they hear the Antichrist. And that is why they're against these things. Continuing on, and in a dizzying display of outright magical thinking, the GOP also said it rejects the 2020 presidential election and believes President Joe Biden was not legitimately elected to office, despite all evidence to the contrary, and it is just a lie. It's a lie to gin up the base, to keep them engaged, to keep them riled up, to bring them to the point of violence in order to again dominate and suppress other people. Quoting from that, quote, "We believe the 2020 election violated Article 1 and 2 of the U.S. Constitution. The various secretaries of states illegally circumvented their state legislatures in conducting their elections in multiple ways, including by allowing ballots to be received after November 3rd of 2020, the GOP platform said." On that last point, at no point has the United States ever said that a ballot can't come in after election day. Do you understand how many military members would have their votes not counted simply by having a rule stating it has to be there by the 3rd? People that are working for the government overseas would just be instantly disenfranchised. Everybody. You're on for whatever reason, you're on a business trip, disenfranchised. Sucks to be you. Because no matter what happens, even if you got your vote in, the vote by mail in 20, send it out 20 days, shit happens. Mail gets lost. It takes time to go around the globe. But we can't have that because apparently, for some reason, voting in person is better. No, it's just the method that they prefer. Because they know that their people can afford to take a day off of work and miss pay to vote. That's what it boils down to. And if they have long lines, they feel like people say, screw it, it's not worth my time. That's the reason why they're against it. Because they think that their people will go out and vote in person more often than people on the other side. It is rank partisanship. It is why you saw people in Arizona demanding count the votes. Meanwhile, people in Michigan saying stop the count on November 3rd. Because they were told by their people that we got this one. We have to count all the votes. We're going to get it. But this group over here, no, we don't have the votes. Tell them to stop the count. Rank partisanship. Stupid. So S-Boss says, quote, "Right-wing nutjobs want to destroy America? What else is new?" I know, but it has to be said, and people need to know just the amount that they want to destroy America. Continuing on, this is a big one. So the Voting Rights Act got some attention as well. In that platform, they say, quote, "We urge the Voting Rights Act of 1965, codified by 1402 and updated in 1973, be repealed and not reauthorized." The Voting Rights Act of 1965 is a landmark civil rights era bill that banned racial discrimination in elections by prohibiting any voting rules that, quote, "result in the denial or abridgment of the rights of any citizen to vote on account of race or color." Now, during the convention, organizers screened the film 2000 Mules at least 3 times. Now, the film was recently discussed during January 6th committee hearing, where former Attorney General Bill Barr said the film's central premise, the election location data proved people were used as mules to stuff ballot boxes, was indefensible. Flat out lies. Coming from Bill Barr, a person that made the legal, well, didn't make it, helped bring to popularity the legal theory of the unity executive, where a president is king as long as they're in power. Essentially, to make a long story short. Even he is saying, no, this is bad. Now, the platform has resulted in some backlash, including resignations of leadership of Texas log cabin Republicans, an association of gay Republicans, and from some high-ranking National Party members. Now, I have to say it, they were fine with everything else, but once the gay things were put in this bill where it was like targeting them, they're like, oh, this is too much. We can't have that anymore. It's a problem that Republicans have in a lot of instances. As long as it doesn't affect them, fuck everybody else. But as soon as it affects them, oh, we have to protect ourselves now. Now, also, Florida's Senator Rick Scott, who chaired the GOP Senate Collections Committee, said that he would not have supported the homophobic language. Former Ohio governor and 2016 Republican presidential candidate John Kasich called the Texas GOP convention a clown show on CNN, adding that, quote, "I think even clowns were embarrassed by what they saw down here. Meanwhile, you're still voting Republican, and you're still a Republican, and you're not donating money to stop Republicans. Bro, your words don't mean shit to me anymore. Okay? I need you to do something. I need you to say what you want about Midas Touch being grifters, okay? They're at least putting money to try to stop Republicans in some of these states from winning office. Do better. But that ends our little segment about state politics and the Texas GOP.